I am Tanishi, and today we are going to talk about imagery, another very important tool in the world of poetry. All our knowledge begins with our senses, it moves to understanding, and finally ends with reason. What we see, hear, smell, touch, or taste helps us understand the world and truly perceive it. Poets and writers have tried to inculcate this familiarity in their literary works by using figurative language that evoke a sensory experience in the readers. Basically, they create an illusion where the reader is not just reading the poem but actually experiencing it through their senses. This is known as imagery. There are 5 types of imagery: visual, auditory, olfactory, gustatory, and kinesthetic and tactile imagery. In this video, we'll be covering visual, auditory, and olfactory imagery since they are the ones most commonly used in poetry. Beginning with visual imagery, as the name suggests, it has to do with our sense of sight. In this type of imagery, the poet uses certain words or phrases in a way such that he or she truly describes the scene that he wants to set in the poem. In very simple words, it is the art of painting a picture through your words. Now we'll understand this better by analyzing an excerpt from a very famous poem by William Wordsworth. It is known as I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, besides the lake and beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. While reading the poem or listening to it, you all can imagine and visualize the scene that the poet is trying to set. Cloud wandering through a host of daffodils where trees are fluttering in the breeze. In this type of imagery, the poet is trying to tell us where the cloud is moving, how the cloud is moving through his words, and it is working. So this type of visual illusion or effect is something that is used in poetries when you are trying to get an idea about the place you are talking about, and then further on elaborating why that place is important to be known in the poetry. Now we'll move forward with the second one, that is auditory imagery, the magic of creating sound with the lack thereof. It is basically a type of imagery that is used to organize and analyze sounds when there's no external stimulus present. That is, make the user hear the sound without the sound actually being present. It could be done using words that create the sound, it could be done with a thorough explanation of the sound, or it could be done using another sounding device known as onomatopoeia. Let us analyze an excerpt from the poetry that I took up last time, that is Stopping by the Woods by Robert Frost. He gave his harness bells a shake to ask, is there some mistake? Though only are the sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. As you heard, in this poem, the poet is trying to use auditory imagery to create a sense of sound where we can hear the harness bells shaking in the forest, where the wind is slightly, slowly, calmly moving. Lastly, we are going to talk about olfactory imagery. In this type of imagery, one has to create the sense of smell without actually presenting a stimulus for it. Smell is a great trigger for emotions and memory, but since it is very hard to experience without any stimulus, this type of imagery is used very less as compared to the other two. We'll understand this better by analyzing an excerpt from the poem Rain and Summer by H.W. Longfellow. They silently inhale the clover-scented gale and the vapors that arise from the well-watered and smoking soil. Well, As the title suggests, this poem is about rain and the way the poet has described the clover-scented gale and the well-watered and smoking soil. One truly experiences the scents they smell after the rainfall. So that was all about the three main types of imagery. If you want to improve your skills for imagery or you feel like you're not able to depict it better, I would suggest that you focus on the sense on which you are targeting your imagery. For example, if I want to master auditory imagery, then I would listen to more sounds. I would listen to birds chirping, I would listen to how fire crinkles, I would listen to waves gushing and everything, and then try to describe them in a way that the moment you describe the words, you're able to hear them. Same goes for the other two types of imagery. If you're trying to master olfactory imagery, smell more things. The types of scents that you want to inculcate in your poetry. If you want to inculcate the scent of a rose, if you want to inculcate how burnt paper smells, or if you want to inculcate how fresh grass smells or the smell after rain, then experience those sounds. As for visual, see more pictures. If you're not able to visit a place or visit a beach, then look at pictures of a beach and try to describe them. The more and more you practice, the better your writing skills get. So that's the kind of tip I would leave for you, is that experience the sense and then you will master the imagery. And once you start using imagery in your poetry, you won't stop, because you yourself, when you're reading the poem, you'll get that experience, and that experience truly is addictive. So that was all for today. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.